fellow Toastmasters, Mr. Chair, and honored guests. What is the real objective of exercise? I'm not referring to why we exercise. I'm referring to what is it we're trying to accomplish when we're engaging in an activity that we choose to call exercise. It's been stated that progression is important. In other words, that people should attempt to lift more weight over time or run faster over time over the same distance or what have you. And that's how you get stronger, is by lifting more and more or running faster and faster. However, what I'm going to suggest to you is that this is really putting the cart before the bull. You see, exercise is a form of stress. And if that stress is intense enough, it provides a stimulus, a signal to your body that it needs to adapt so that it is able to deal with that stress in the future. And if the body is given enough time, enough rest, enough nutrients, then it will adapt to do that. And that adaptation will then be manifested in the future by somebody being able to lift more weight or run faster. But there's two ways the body can adapt. One is by actually getting stronger, and the other way is by becoming more efficient or more skilled at the said activity. And becoming more efficient and more skilled takes up a lot less of the body's valuable resources than actually building additional muscle. So your body is always going to hoard those resources and take the path of least resistance to do that, because it's trying to hoard those resources for your own survival. So when people do adapt, often it's with skill. So that's why often I get people who are used to working out somewhere else, and they come in and they're very surprised at how heavy a light weight can feel when they do it really slowly and really strictly. The stimulus that makes your body want to adapt is fatiguing your muscles beyond a certain threshold. In other words, the exercise has to be demanding. It has to be of a high intensity. Ken Hutchins is the author of the Super Slow Manual, which is one of many books he's written, the one he's most famous for. And one of the concepts that he offers, which is one of the most valuable concepts in all of exercise, is the assumed objective versus the primary objective of exercise. And it goes like this. The assumed primary objective of an exercise is to perform as many repetitions as possible with as much weight as possible. But this is actually the secondary objective. The real primary objective of an exercise is to momentarily weaken the musculature, to fatigue it as safely, quickly, efficiently, and deeply as possible for the purpose of stimulating the muscular growth mechanism with the least amount of weight in the least amount of time. Now, picture this. Your muscle strength would be measured the way the battery charge on your smartphone is measured through an indicator. And assume that your muscles have a built-in charger that will recharge it at every step, which in fact they do. If you are providing enough tension on the muscle, more than your body can recover from, and also that you're making that maximum tension uninterrupted, you're going to see you would see the battery charger going down. But if your muscle gets even a second of rest, or if the intensity is not high enough, it's actually charging up the other way. So the idea is to create that intensity and fatigue the muscle to as much as possible. Now, there are other ways to provide intensity which have become popular. One of them is to get people to move faster. And moving faster will in fact increase the intensity, but it also increases the force on the muscle, tendons, and ligaments, and therefore creates a much higher probability of getting injured in the process. Moving slower will actually be more intense, and it'll be safer. So a note that physicians take, that all personal trainers should also take, is first, do no harm. And moving quickly is dangerous. So in the real objective definition that I talked about earlier, notice that he said use the least amount of weight. So again, to demonstrate strength, you lift more weight, but to build that strength, you take the least amount of weight and lift it as strictly and slowly as possible in order to get the maximum stimulus. When people are focused on the primary of lifting the weights, they start to use momentum, they start to use some body English. In other words, they're doing what's called cheating during the rep. And that leads to them, of course, being able to use more weight, but as they use more weight, that's more stress on the body. It can also lead to injuries that could have been prevented. In conclusion, your goal is to fatigue as deeply, efficiently, and safely as possible. You can understand that that is the stimulus that gets people to improve their physical condition. Then and how to administer that stimulus and why you're doing it. So then you will be able to realize what type of exercise is the most efficient, the most effective, and most importantly, the safest. And that will allow you to have an exercise that you can sustain for all of your lifetime. Mr. Chair.